If you're saving money and feel like you're getting nowhere, there are three net worth thresholds that quietly change everything about how your money works. Most people quit right before hitting the first one. See, here's the thing nobody tells you about building wealth in America. It doesn't grow in a straight line. For months, sometimes years, you're putting money away and your account barely moves. You check your balance, do some quick math and think, at this rate, I'll be rich approximately never. And then something strange happens. You cross a certain number, and suddenly your money starts behaving differently, like it finally woke up and decided to do its job. Today, we're going to break down three specific dollar amounts where this shift happens. Not theoretical, not motivational poster nonsense. Actual numbers backed by actual math that explain why building wealth feels impossibly slow at first, and then weirdly fast later. And more importantly, what changes in your real, everyday life when you hit each one. But before we get to the first threshold, let's talk about why most Americans never get there. According to the Federal Reserve, the median savings account balance in the US is around $6,000. Not 600,000, 6,000. That means half of all Americans have less than that saved up. And when you look at retirement accounts, roughly 40% of working-age Americans have literally nothing saved for retirement. Zero. Now, this isn't because Americans are lazy or stupid. The system is genuinely designed to make saving difficult. You've got housing costs eating 40 to 50% of income in major cities. Healthcare expenses that can wipe out years of savings with one bad diagnosis. Student loan payments that follow you around like a financially abusive ex. And on top of all that, you've got a consumer culture that screams at you every single day to spend more, upgrade faster, and finance everything. So if you're watching this and you feel behind, you're not broken. You're fighting an uphill battle that most people don't even realize exists. But here's the encouraging part. Once you understand how these thresholds work, the game changes. You stop guessing and start seeing a clear path forward. Let's get into it. Threshold number one, $50,000. This might seem like a modest number compared to what finance influencers throw around online. Everyone's talking about millions and passive income and retiring at 35 on a beach somewhere. But $50,000 is the number where something fundamentally shifts in your financial life. And here's why most people massively underestimate it. $50,000 is the point where you stop being financially fragile. Before this number, you're essentially one bad event away from serious trouble. Your car breaks down, that's a crisis. You lose your job, that's an emergency. Medical bill shows up, that's a potential bankruptcy. Life below $50,000 in savings means you're constantly playing defense. Every financial decision is reactive. You're not building anything, you're just surviving. But once you cross $50,000, something changes in your brain. You start making decisions from a position of stability instead of panic. That job you hate, you can actually afford to leave it and look for something better because you've got a cushion. That investment opportunity your friend mentioned, you can actually consider it instead of immediately saying no because you need every dollar for rent. Let's put some real numbers on this. If you're earning the median American household income of around $77,000 a year, and you manage to save 15% of your after-tax income, that's roughly $750 a month. Without any investment returns at all, just straight saving, you'd hit $50,000 in about 5.5 years. Now, if you invest that money and earn a historically average return around 7 to 8% annually, you get there closer to 4.5 years. Almost a full year faster, just because your money is working alongside you. And here's the part that matters for your actual life. At $50,000 invested, your money is generating roughly $3,000 to $4,000 a year in returns. That might not sound like much, but think about what that represents. That's your car insurance paid for the year. That's a couple months of groceries. That's money appearing in your account that you didn't have to trade hours of your life for. This is the first taste of your money working for you, And psychologically, it's transformational. The biggest trap at this stage, and I see this constantly, is what I call the reward impulse. You've been grinding, saving, sacrificing for years. You finally hit a real number, and your brain goes, you know what? I deserve something nice. A vacation, a new car, an upgrade to the apartment. And just like that, you're back to 20,000 and the cycle starts over. Here's a better way to think about it. That 50,000 isn't a finish line. It's a launch pad. Every dollar you pull out now costs you way more than a dollar in the future. $1,000 withdrawn today could have been 3,000 in 15 years. You're not spending $1,000 on that vacation. You're spending 3,000 of your future dollars. Keep that in mind when the reward impulse kicks in. Threshold number 2, $250,000. If 50,000 is where you stop being fragile, 250,000 is where you start being genuinely powerful with money. This is the threshold where the math gets exciting and your daily life starts changing in ways you didn't expect. $250,000 invested, your annual returns at a 7% average are around $17,500 a year. Let's just sit with that number for a second. $17,500. That's roughly $1,460 every single month that shows up in your account without you lifting a finger. Without commuting, without answering emails, without dealing with that one coworker who microwaves fish in the break room. To put this in perspective, that's more than a full-time federal minimum wage salary. Your money is now earning what an actual human being earns working 40 hours a week. You've essentially hired an invisible employee who works for you around the clock, never takes sick days, never complains, and never asks for a raise. But here's what really changes at this level, and it goes way beyond the numbers. This is where you develop what wealthy people call financial confidence. It's not arrogance. It's the quiet knowledge that you have options. When your company announces layoffs, you're concerned, but not terrified. When your landlord raises the rent, you can choose to move strategically instead of scrambling desperately. When a genuine investment opportunity comes along, maybe a rental property, maybe a small business, maybe an index fund during a market dip, you can actually act on it. Let me show you how the math accelerates from here. Getting from 0 to 50,000 probably took you 4 to 5 years of consistent saving and investing. Getting from 50,000 to 250,000, adding another 200,000, might only take 6 to 7 more years. Wait, that doesn't sound right, does it? You needed almost 5 years for the first 50, but only 6 or 7 more for an additional 200,000? That's compound interest starting to flex. In the early years, most of your account growth comes from your own contributions. You're doing the heavy lifting. But by the time you're at 250,000, your investment returns are contributing nearly as much as you are each month. You and your money are now equal partners in this project. Here's a concrete example. Let's say you're investing $750 a month. At the 250,000 mark, your money is generating about $1,460 a month in returns. So effectively, your account is growing by over $2,200 a month. $750 from you and $1,460 from your investments. And unlike your contributions, those returns keep growing as your balance grows. Next year, it's a little more. The year after that, even more. This is the point where people start to feel it. Not just see the number in their account, but actually feel the shift. You walk differently. You negotiate differently at work. You make decisions about your career based on what you actually want to do, not just what pays the most. You stop tolerating toxic work environments because you know you have a runway. And I want to emphasize something here because it's easy to overlook. This isn't about being lucky or having a 6-figure tech salary. There are teachers, nurses, mechanics, and postal workers who've hit this number. The common thread isn't what they earned, it's what they consistently invested and how long they stayed in the game. The most boring financial strategy in the world, Automatic monthly contributions to a diversified index fund has created more $250,000 accounts than any crypto trade, stock tip, or side hustle ever will. The trap at this level is lifestyle creep. You've got more money flowing in, so your spending naturally wants to expand. The nice restaurants become regular instead of occasional. The economy flights become business class. The Honda becomes a BMW. None of these things are evil on their own. But if your spending grows at the same rate as your wealth, you'll stay at 250,000 forever. The people who break through to the next level are the ones who keep their lifestyle relatively flat while their income and returns keep climbing. Threshold number 3, $500,000, $500,000. In many parts of the country, this is more than the median home price. You could literally buy a house with cash in most American cities. But obviously, you're not going to do that because at this level, you understand something that most people never learn. It's not about what you can buy. It's about what your money can generate. At $500,000 invested, your annual returns at 7% average out to around $35,000 a year. That's nearly $3,000 a month in completely passive income. Think about what that means in practical terms. For millions of Americans, that's enough to cover their basic living expenses: housing, food, transportation, utilities, without working at all. You haven't retired yet, and this isn't retirement advice. But the mere fact that your money could theoretically cover your needs, that's a level of financial security that changes everything about how you experience life. At this level, you stop thinking about money as something you earn and start thinking about it as something you manage. Your relationship with work transforms completely. You don't work because you have to, you work because you choose to. And that subtle shift, from obligation to choice, is one of the most liberating feelings a human being can experience. Let's talk about the math one more time, because at 500,000, compound interest goes from being your partner to being the senior partner. Your money is now generating 35,000 a year in returns, while you might be contributing 9,000 a year from savings. Your investments are doing nearly 4 times more work than you are. You've gone from doing all the heavy lifting to being the minority contributor to your own wealth. And the acceleration from here becomes almost absurd. Going from 500,000 to 750,000? At this growth rate, that can happen in about 4 to 5 years, even if you stop contributing entirely. Going from 750 to a million? Another 3 to 4 years. The first 50,000 took you almost 5 years of grinding. The last 250,000 might take less than 5 years of mostly just existing and letting your money do its thing. This is what people mean when they say the first 100,000 is the hardest. It's not literally about 100,000 specifically. It's about the early phase where you're doing all the work and the math feels broken. But once you push through, each milestone comes faster than the last. The distance between 50 and 250 feels shorter than the distance between 0 and 50. And the distance between 250 and 500 feels shorter still. Now here's something most finance videos won't tell you, and it might be the most important part of this entire conversation. The math only works if you don't sabotage yourself along the way. And there are specific things that destroy people's wealth-building journey that have nothing to do with the stock market. Number 1, trying to time the market. Every year, millions of Americans pull their money out of investments because they read a scary headline, or their uncle at Thanksgiving told them a crash is coming. Historically, the people who stay invested through downturns come out dramatically ahead of those who try to jump in and out. Time in the market beats timing the market. It's not just a cliche, it's supported by decades of data. Number 2, debt spirals. Specifically, high-interest credit card debt. The average American credit card interest rate right now is over 22%. If your investments are earning 7 to 8% and your credit cards are charging 22%, you're essentially running a race where you sprint forward and then sprint backward twice as fast. Pay off high-interest debt before focusing on investing. The math demands it. Number 3, and this is the silent killer, inflation lifestyle upgrades disguised as necessities. Your income goes up by 10,000 a year, and somehow your expenses go up by 12,000. A bigger apartment because you need the space. A nicer car because the old one is unreliable. Premium subscriptions to things you barely use because you deserve it. Each one seems small and reasonable. Together, they're the reason most people who earn good incomes still end up with almost nothing saved. Number 4, catastrophic events without insurance. One serious medical emergency without proper health insurance can eliminate years, sometimes decades, of savings in America. One lawsuit without umbrella insurance. One house fire without proper coverage. Building wealth without protecting it is like filling a bathtub with the drain open. And look, I know watching a video about net worth thresholds while you're dealing with rent, bills, and the daily grind can feel disconnected from reality. But that's the thing about this process. It happens in the background. You set up your automatic transfers, you choose your investments, and then you go live your life. You go to work, you hang out with friends, you watch terrible reality TV, whatever makes you happy. And the whole time, quietly, without any extra effort, your money is growing. It's compounding. It's building toward these thresholds while you sleep. That's the real beauty of it. Wealth building isn't a second job. Once you set it up, it's more like a slow-growing garden that you check on every few months. And one day you look at the balance and think, wait, when did that happen? Here's what I want you to take away from all of this. The 3 thresholds, 50,000, 250,000, and 500,000, aren't magical numbers. They're mathematical realities that reflect how compound growth actually works. The early phase is brutal. Progress feels invisible. You'll question whether it's even worth it. But every single person who has built real wealth went through that same frustrating early phase. The difference between people who build wealth and people who don't usually isn't income. It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's the willingness to keep going when the numbers feel discouraging, to keep investing when the market drops, to keep living below your means when everyone around you is upgrading their lifestyle, to trust the math even when your emotions are screaming at you to give up. You don't need to earn a fortune to reach these thresholds. You need consistency. You need patience. And you need to understand that the game is rigged in your favor, but only if you stay in it long enough for compound interest to start doing the heavy lifting. If you're at 0 right now, your job is simple. Start. Even if it's $50 a month, even if it feels pointless. Because 5 years from now, you'll either be approaching that first threshold or you'll be wishing you had started today. The math doesn't care about your feelings. It just works. And once it starts working for you, it never stops.